Sorry I'm late.
No worries, no worries. I hope everything's okay with that student.
Yeah, there's a very irate mom, and you know how they get. I just had to elevate the problem a little bit, but it seems like they're in good hands now, so we're good.
Good. Glad to hear it. And me, irate mom? No, perish the thought. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, so, I don't really have much. We've talked about a lot just kind of like casually, but like I don't really have much of a plan right now. So
All good.
I'm gonna pass the ball to you. Yeah, what's on your mind?
Nothing much. I've just work's been really heating up. There's like cyber fraud is just a huge problem nowadays. Like basically, like at the college I work at, there's like this spam verification process where they try to like weed out spam applications, but it ends up just most of the time just flagging normal people's accounts and preventing them from registering, you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
So like I just have to deal with a lot of those people that are stuck in limbo, and like classes just like started today, so it's just a very tumultuous kind of time. But in terms of melee, I feel like I feel like my brain's beginning to work a lot more efficiently. Just like in general, it's kind of strange. It's like I don't know, kind of like what I was talking about before, where it's like I'm not really used to like there's like this new wave of fear that I feel like I'm experiencing because I feel like I'm sort of like seeing the totality of the options more than I was before, you know?
Okay. So let's explore that. So you said you're seeing the totality of the options more. Can you give me an example from a game or like just hypothetical where where like this is happening and it wouldn't have before?
I feel like a lot of visual cues that I was reacting to, it was like it almost felt like it was like like putting the square hole in like or the square peg in the square hole, like this idea that like I see this visual cue and so my brain identifies like the correct remedy to it. But I feel like recently I've just been realizing that like I've been kind of doing this like one size fits all kind of mentality for a lot of situations in melee, when in reality that's just not like the right option. And I feel like I'm just looking at these situations and I feel like I'm starting to hesitate for the first time in a long time because I'm realizing just how many more options are on the table than I realized.
So perhaps what we need a better method of figuring out what the good options are.
Yeah.
So maybe like this is more about a day about foundations as opposed to like like specific analysis, but like we can take a look at maybe some like big concepts like different advantage states and how we use them effectively. And
Yeah.
I think because like all combos like whenever we combo someone, this is a lesson I learned in Pokemon because I used to be okay at that back in advanced, but so when you're building a team, or put like down to like the move, down to like where you distribute the effort values, like the EVs, you are weighing that decision against all the other decisions that you could have made, and stating that this is the best one for the team that you have. You're comparing to everything else that could exist in the game's very deep, vast richness, and this is the play. So it's a lot. Like it's a lot to contend with because it's like, oh, do I really need Toxic and Leech Seed on this Ludicolo? Is that a little redundant? Like what
Yeah.
does not having Ice Beam like screw me? It's a lot of questions.
Totally.
So, and I think this is where you're kind of finding yourself with Falco, from the sounds of it. Would you say that's true? Because you've got all these, you're more aware of like the consequences of your actions, but you don't know how to like evaluate them.
Totally. There's so many situations where I'm really. I mean, like obviously, I knew in the past, like I could laser or I could aerial, But I'm just realizing just how many fucking permutations of it there are.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I'm trying out new options, and then like they're working and stuff, but then I'm like, do I like abandon the old options? Do I like keep them in tandem alongside each other? And so I feel like I had like a game plan that I was more confident in before, but now I'm realizing a lot of the shortcomings in it, you know? And so I feel like I haven't found renewed confidence in my renewed game plan, you know? If that makes sense. Like, I think I will get it. And I think the fear is a good thing, because I think it's making me realize just how many holes there were in other things. But it's also like, now I feel like it's kind of like I can't like unsee it, you know?
Okay. So I'm going to ask a favor from you then.
Sure.
I have booted up Uncle Punch. And what I want you to do is, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. I want you to teach me Falco.
Hell yeah.
So, let's start with something simple. Bread and butter combos. Let's go to training. Let's just go to... we'll go to training lab, actually, because it's a little bit easier for, like, testing positions.
Yeah.
And I guess it's customary to start on Marth or Fox.
Yeah.
So,
sure.
Let's do Marth, actually. I feel he'll be a little bit more noob-friendly, and we'll do Battlefield. Sure. So, I'm going to turn his DIs off, and I want you to tell me where you would start me with learning how to combo this character. Like, what are the pros and cons of my different options? Like, I know I'm going to start with down air, so that's step 1, but what do I do next?
Yeah, I mean, dare to shine pretty much always, unless you hit them to the point where they DI. Like, sometimes you can do, like, dare grab if they're DIing away, but yeah, on no DI...
Is that better than dare down tilt?
Yeah, you see what I'm saying.
Is dare grab...
Yeah, down tilt also works.
Which one's better, down air grab or down air down tilt?
I'd probably go down air grab, just because the down tilt's like slightly laggier, so if it's at low percent, sometimes they can get out of it.
Okay, got it. So there's a risk-reward consideration there. That makes sense. What if he's at like 10, so we have more stun on the down air?
I'd still probably go for the throw, just because like I think like getting like an up throw up air or an up throw back air is more valuable positioning wise than like a down tilt at like low percent.
But he's going onto the platform though, which is pretty good.
Oh, that's true. Oh yeah, actually, geez, I never even thought about that.
Because we can potentially start a pillar off that.
Yeah, that's true. Jesus. Okay, this is why you're the coach.
No. But you can see why we're But you can see why we're doing this exercise, right?
Exactly.
Because you're now having to think critically about what our different options are. Like, because my thinking is that like, yeah, let's just do custom DI real quick. So like, if we up throw him, he can slide off with the lasers really easily here, right?
Yeah.
But if we do down air down tilt. Can't really do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, wow. Yeah, and down tilt's nice, actually, because, yeah, like, if they DI out of the shine, it's a lot easier to sort of drop the follow-up. But, I mean, I guess you can still get the down air, but...
Yeah, there's like
I do like the idea that there's, like, a platform tech chase now, like, at super low percent.
Yeah, because, like, if you hit that, like, if I get that down air up there, then, like, you know, we've got him on top platform, we've got him isolated from, like, the ground. We can just keep, like, raining shines and down airs on him until he dies. Like, this is good. This is what we want. We're in our lane. We're in our zone. Happy.
Yeah. Totally.
So, with that in mind, so what we're doing here is so Lisk is actually a good segue. So, the one thing that you want to keep in mind with characters in general is the defender and the attacker will both have different strengths and weaknesses in terms of like how they handle coming out of defense. So like after the combo, where do we want Marth? Generally, it's like up in the air, right?
Sure.
What else is good? Like up in the air off stage. What about knockdown? How do we feel about knockdown with Marth?
Knockdown's fine. Yeah, his roll is like kind of laggy, and his get up attack's big, but if you shield it or CC it, you'll be fine.
Okay. So, is it better than... Which one's the best of them, though? Like, is it better for us to finish... Like, let's say we can do a combo that does 60 damage. At the end of that 60 damage, is it better for him to be in knockdown? Like, like, say about, like, this far away. Like a tech chaseable one. Not, like, not one where we can't follow up on it. Because then, obviously, that's bad. But, like,
sure.
a controlled, like, a knockdown on this platform, let's say, like, because that's a simple one. Launched up in the air over here, or recovering off stage over here.
I'd say off stage, always. Like, if you can take the ledge out of the equation for Marth, it takes a lot of his freedom away.
Cool. What if he's over, like, here with his jump?
Then probably... Yeah, I mean, like, that's pretty good, too, right? Because, like, if you just, like, shield and back air, you can, you know, beat most of the things he would try to, like, come onto stage with.
Okay, cool. So, that makes sense. Because, yeah, like, juggle state generally is good versus Marth. That's, like, a known thing. It's because he doesn't have many moves underneath him that are particularly good.
Yeah.
What about on the ground here? Like, what if we finish with him on the floor? Like, we smack him down with the Dair, and, like, he DIs it so he can't get the shine, but we do have the tech chase at this same 60 damage.
It's sketchier. For sure.
Why?
He can follow up sooner, and like us being above Marth is just kind of weaker, as I've learned.
Okay, that all makes sense. So, what we're learning here is this is good because like we're still able to like get below Marth using our fast fall speed, because like this kind of has the role of the tech chase, but also gives us juggle state because we're just we're a character who descends quickly. So, like, this just works well. Like, being on the platform and finishing him with him and knockdown here works really well. It's also confined, which helps make up for our low speed, which is great.
Sure.
What about up here? What's the, like, perk of him being, like... And then up here, no, you answer this. Like, being up here, we have, like, access to our lasers. We have our powerful back air. He's above us, where he doesn't really have many moves. Like, this is all good. And you can probably kind of, like, kite him or, like, shark him or babysit him to, like, force him into this low recovery, where then we have, like, edgehogs and stuff. So, like,
exactly.
Perfect. So we kind of, what we're doing here is, do you notice anything about what the strong positions are and which ones are the most interchangeable here? Like, which ones lead to the others most seamlessly, like the other good ones most seamlessly?
I mean, if you're pillaring Marth, ideally, even if he's DIing off stage, you are able to, you know, either put him into knockdown or put him off stage. So, if that's what you were asking.
Well, it's more about the game state. So, like, this would be, like, knockdown platform. This would be, like, juggle state. Like, up here would be, like, juggle state. This would be, grounded tech chase. And then you have, like, recovery over here. So, between these four, like, outcomes, because those are, like, some of the basic positions that our combo can put Falco at the... Like, sorry, Marth at the end of it. What do you notice about which ones lead to the other ones, like, most easily? Because we've defined this one as the good one. Which ones of our options, like, of the other three, which ones lead to that one more easily?
Probably just like a tech chase, right?
Yeah, on the platform. On the platform or on the ground?
On the ground, I assume.
Why?
Well, I mean, platform's like smaller, you know, like it'll be simpler to get him out of there. But I guess like there's more space to horizontally like combo him or chase him to get him off stage if you were on the ground, I guess. But yeah, I guess like side plat makes it simpler, you know.
Yeah, why do we need space? Why do we need space to chase him around if we can just like hit him up and hit him back down here?
That's true.
Like we're gonna get all the damage we need on this platform anyway. And if he goes to another one, we just keep hitting him.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. I guess like, yeah. I hadn't really thought about that because like I can grasp like Marth being super good when someone gets thrown onto the platform. You know, like Marth fucking loves putting people above him on the platform. So why would that not be like advantageous for Falco as well?
Yeah, and like you see how much damage we get just from like following him around up there. I don't even play this character. Like I have no idea what I'm doing. But like just from like this process, like we're starting to see where like the spots that we have the most control are really like we have a really powerful down air that is impossible. That it's like one of the most accessible true spikes in the game. It has a good chunk of knockback. It's fast. It's very versatile, and we have like the best launcher in the game. So, like, it makes a ton of sense to, like, trap him in a confined space like this. And this just happens to then lead to our, like, grounded kill moves, so then we're, like, building a structure that puts him here reliably.
Yeah, it's like each zone is sort of like its own umbrella, and underneath the umbrella, there's like situations. I feel like I was kind of looking at a lot of them like it's just like one situation at a time, you know, and just the totality of them. But realizing that you can kind of like simplify like the categorization of them, I think, would probably make making a reliable game plan to respond to it a lot easier and more reliable.
This actually harkens back to something I noticed when I worked with a Nest player, Murdoch, in my early days of doing this coaching. The video's not recorded, sadly, but like something he talked about was that he's really good at using grabs in quote-unquote grab combos. But he's not really, like, if he's fighting, like, Marth or Sheik, or, like, Fox or Falco, like, he knows that, like, okay, there's percents where we up throw. That's just, like, a thing. We up throw, we do the thing, and if there's a chance for a re-grab during, like, the up throw string that follows, like the combo string that follows, he's really good about spotting them. But when he's doing more, like, combos with hits, quote-unquote, he doesn't really pick up on those things. Like, on the opportunities to grab. And when I was analyzing him versus a Falco player, I think it might have been Vu or something, but, like, we pointed out that, yeah, like, you could have totally grabbed him here, after the dash attack, but you go for, like, such a risky follow-up that's, like, so unreliable and up tilt, and, like, it's fine, like, I would do that sometimes, because it's up tilt's good at tech traps, so you can get, like, the D-tilt reset, like pop-off combos, but it was also FD. So, like, do we realistically need that over just the chain grab, you know?
Yeah, literally.
Like, if we were on Dreamland, that would make sense, but, like, we're on FD. And then he was like, you know, I didn't even think about that being an option. And what we kind of had to, like, break down for him was there's no such thing as grab combos. There's just combos with grabs. In the same way, there's no hit combos, there's just combos with hits. But the two of them can and should flow into one another, because sometimes you'll be on, like, track for the BnB, like the up throw BnB, or whatever your character's throw BnB is, but the opponent will defend it in a funny way, or like a fringe scenario will come up, and you'll have to adjust. You'll have to spot that, oh, there's actually a better option available here because of, like, the unique conditions of this game state. And yeah, then we have to change gears, and sometimes we get really. That's how a lot of, like, I think that players like None are really good at that. Like None, Salt, yeah, like Lucky, like a lot of the West Coast space animals that aren't like fiction, like they really excel at this kind of like adaptive like approach, because they play with a little bit more like looseness, but like in a good way, like not looseness as in sloppy, looseness as in flexible. Yeah,
like a fluidity to their options.
Exactly.
I feel like you have a very economical way of looking at the game. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, you telling me that you like picked Sheik because, you know, it was like she felt like the easiest, you know, and you were trying to, you know, like make a living off going to tournaments. But like, I feel like I adore Melee and it is really deep, but I feel like part of me has like almost like overly romanticized some of these interactions, and like they really aren't that complicated sometimes. Like, there are more efficient ways to look at these things that, like, obviously there's more nuance than just like pick one option, this will win, but like there are ways to work smarter, not harder, you know. And I think Melee players are super guilty of that in a lot of different ways.
We really like to fetishize how difficult it is to play this game, and
literally
I think that has done a lot of harm to how we teach the game. In some ways, it's not all bad. Like, I actually do like parts of it. So one thing I would say I would raise defense for is Melee players are really supportive at the end of the day. Like, we are so willing to help, like, new players and, like, just tell them, like, yo, this is your resources for, like, L canceling, this is how you learn ATs, yada yada. And that's great. I love that. But I really wish that we would stop to think if, like, the methods that we're using to teach those things are necessarily the best ones.
Yeah, for sure. I think, like, a lot of, especially, like, YouTube videos and whatnot, they'll use, like, really polished editing, you know, and these cool-ass, like, hitbox diagrams to explain something. And, like, it is cool. But ultimately, I think it's almost like too much for people, you know, to really, like, make a dent in it, you know? And I feel like it's like, I don't know, we don't talk about like music that way, you know?
Nope.
We don't We don't talk about like fucking painting that way, even though those things literally are melee, you know? Those things literally do have like a million, you know, permutations that are super sophisticated or whatever.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
but it's like you're not gonna like tell a fucking child learning their cello about, you know, jump cancel grabs or, you know, bow stringing or whatever, you know? Like, so I don't know. I think it's like interesting that like by working with you, I'm unlearning a lot of sort of cultural, I think, like toxicity that's kind of seeped into my relationship with melee, and I feel like I'm looking at it a lot more. I don't know. Honestly, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Like just for what it is, you know, I'm not making it out to be more than it actually is. And I think that's like there's a clarity to that I like.
So, absolutely. So, here's another thing we're going to do. So this one we're actually going to make a diagram because we're going to break this down together. So let's grab this. And perfect. And I'm actually going to pop out of Uncle Punch here because we are done with it. But we do need this diagram. So let's talk stage locations using our lovely and talented Final Destination and this elastic minstrel that we have here. So let's get into recoveries. For this one, we'll use Fox. So we're going to pretend that we're going to start using orange dots in a second to describe where Fox could be. So something that Mango has been somewhat critical of is that Falcos tended to do a lot of damage, but they allow Fox to recover really high. My question to you is, why do you think that's a problem? Like, why do you think he has this, like, viewpoint?
Probably because by Falco covering a high option, he can only cover one of them. Or at least, like, you know, like a few permutations of a high angle, you know? By like, covering, like, a lower option and staying off ledge, you can, like, potentially cover multiple of them or react to where they go, you know?
That'll make sense. I would also, like, so let me ask you. Let's say this is a Fox, and this is also a Fox. This one's at, like, 150, this one's at 80. Which one is, like, more likely to die here?
Like they're on the ledge, or just, like, in general?
No, they're the dot.
They're the dot. Oh, I mean, probably the 80, right? Like, I think Falcos are just more familiar with flowcharting that angle, you know? Like, Falcos don't really go out there and, like, edgeguard or, like, high back air, typically.
Well,
I think there's a lot of...
No, go ahead, keep going.
There's a lot of freedom in going high, and I think people can tend to, like, let folks get back for free. But I think that Falcos have watched a lot of the flowcharts of, you know, even if they tech at ledge or whatever, like, covering it with, like, a tech chase down air. Other stuff. I think it's just, I mean, and it's just more in line with what Falco's good at. Like, Falco lasers people and then it lowers their recovery angle. So it would make sense that they would have more familiarity with covering the lower angles, you know?
Absolutely. But let's make this even simpler, though. Because everything you said is true, but it's not what I'm looking for. And that's okay. Let me ask you, who has more options, right, in these two? In these two. Is it the one at 80 or the one at 150?
The one at 150, totally.
What options do they have that the one at 80 does not have?
They can go down.
There's another big one that we're missing. They can illusion.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I was thinking just up B, but yes, that is so true.
Yeah, so they have this, plus they have the option to fall. This guy can't fall. He's dead. If he does that. So he has all of this space from here to about here where he can fall, potentially illusion. So he has access to this entire swath of options, like with off the illusion, plus the drift that leads up, which opens up shortens. He has all of that just because he's higher up. Cool, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get even deeper. So you also mentioned a key option here with up B, which is that he can aim down, right? Which means that he can sweet spot the edge. Like he can edge snap to it. Can the one below edge snap, or do they just have to run the animation?
Nah, they gotta ride the wall.
Right. So this means that this one also has this one has timing mix-ups. relative to 2, because 2 doesn't really have timing mix-ups. They just have, like... They have, like, length mix-ups, but they don't have timing mix-ups, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah,
they still
totally.
They still, like, go... It's the same duration one way or the other, which means that the Falco Edgeguarding only has to plan around, like, time... No, only has to plan around distance, not time. So it standardizes that. So, like, he can probably go to, like, this kind of range, like, somewhere here, but they always end up, like, get to this point, and this point at the same time.
That makes sense, totally.
Yeah. So, with that in mind, there's one more, like, if we were on Battlefield or something, there's even, like... So I would say that this is a very important base concept. The idea that there's different zones and, like, how good your recovery is depends on which one you're in. So if we take this ruler and, like, we kind of divide the recovery area a bit, I would say that, like, this is kind of like a very basic 1 and 2 zone, where you have, like, above the ledge and then you have below the ledge. Specifically, like, above the ledge and below the ledge is important because once you're below this green line, this area, you have to up B. You do not have a choice to do anything else if you don't have your jump. So you can use your jump in parts of this area, in parts of, like, this second zone, which we can mark as well. Like, I'd say, how high is Fox's double jump? Like, probably about here? Like, it can go above it about here? Like that? Yeah, okay, cool. Doesn't have to be perfect, because, like, that's not the point of this. But, like, from here to here... we can see, like, if he has his jump, he can still go above it a bit, so he can get into this, like, key zone here, and still have, like, access to, like, the angle sweet spots and stuff. But if he doesn't have his jump, like, the second he's below this green line, he's absolutely screwed. Like, well, not screwed, but, like, his recovery options are severely limited, because he only has 1. It's up B.
Yeah, he's damned.
Yeah, like, it's up B and pray.
Literally.
So this is, I think, one of the classic win conditions that almost every single character plays for versus Fox. Getting him below this line. This is where the magic happens. Whenever he's recovering in this section, this is when people make it back. This is when they don't. So it is all about, like, forcing them below this and making sure that we're using the tools that allow us to do so. Off the top of your head, what are some impacts that this could have on your play? Just from kind of hearing that, like, what's a change you think that would make sense in your play if you're comboing him in this direction?
Probably honestly, I think, like, having more confidence sometimes, maybe to, like, go out there and, like, double jump back air too. Mm-hmm. You know, if I'm able to time it properly, just kind of knowing that he's, like, checkmated, you know, having the confidence.
Yeah, like, if he's here, then, like, why wouldn't we, like, just go off and back air him, right?
Yeah, right. Like, I can just treat it like how, like, Sheik would, you know? Like, just kind of make shit happen. Yeah, I've definitely grasped this concept for a good bit. The idea that, like, you know, Fox, like, basically, I'm trying to shoot him to the point where he just has far more limited options beneath ledge, you know? But I also think it's interesting that, like, going high actually, like, just has way more than you would think. Like I was just thinking about up B angles, but I didn't even take into equation, like, air dodge or side B or, like, all this shit, you know? So it's like, it really is not a position that I would, like, I think if anything, I should probably, if people are going high, I should try to punish them as hard as possible to discourage them.
The other thing that you could do is think about what your moves trajectory are. Like, what your moves trajectories send them at. Because, like, this could be the difference between deciding whether or not we go for, like, downs. Like, if you have a Fox popped up, like, here, right? Yeah. This could maybe, like, at, like, 60 or, like, 50. Let's say we, like, let's say we hit, like, I don't know, Shine, Nair, the DI'd in, we're too far, we can't get the down air, so we have to go for a we have to go for a finisher. Yeah, like, that could be a reason to down smash.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. I do love down smash.
Yeah, because, like,
people have a really hard time teching that one.
Yeah,
for some reason.
Yeah, because, like, its natural angle is like this, whereas F smash is like this. So even though, like, this probably finishes with him out here, he still has way more options compared to here. Yeah,
that makes sense. Whereas down smash kind of just finalizes it, you know.
Yeah.
And that can even, like, like even if they're at like high percent and they get hit by forward smash, if they DI well, they can survive it. But I feel like down smash can kill you at pretty low percent, just because of how brutal the angle is.
Yeah, that's why Sheik's Fair is good. It's not as powerful as a finisher as like Ganondorf's Fair, but it's like a much better kill move because it doesn't send high.
Yeah.
It's why she's like got the best combo. It's why her combos are so like she's got the most consistent like lethal setups. Yeah, her finisher is just insane. She's got lots of ways to access it. And yeah, that just is like combined with her edge guarding and her sharking and her powerful vertical inside kill aerials. Yeah, like it's just a winning combination. It's very hard to overcome that. And while Falco's are not as straightforward as hers, I think that there's a lot of wisdom we can take from that kind of methodical approach. Because yeah, like I mean, how many times have you played with Falco and you're like, God, if like I got this combo, I did like 80 or like 110 or like 137 or like 60. Like I did some insane chunk of damage and I finished it, but like the opponent just came back. It felt like the opponent just came back for free.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with Falco, it happens with like a lot of people. I feel like people have a really hard time finding the finisher, you know, because I feel like they have a really hard time like either like they overextend or they have a hard time parlaying the combo into like a quick neutral win into another combo or another finisher, you know? But I feel like part of that is that like I think Falco players have a really difficult time discerning like when to laser and when to combo, you know, and like how to combine those two. I think that they tend to like exactly. They're either like I'm in hitbox mode or I'm in like laser and grab mode, you know.
Yeah, the reality is they're just like neither of those things are really things. Like they're useful for like understanding the character's fighting patterns, but like ultimately, especially as you get to higher levels, those constructs are just constructs. Like they're not real.
Literally, especially the more I play like other top tiers, and I realize just how many people have to just like grab mid combo or just throw out a fucking projectile or whatever. You know, like I've been playing a lot more Peach recently for fun, and like. Peach does not get the stuff that Falco gets in neutral. Very different character.
No, absolutely. Peach is sick, though. Peach is so cool.
She's so fun. She's the most unique character, in my opinion, in terms of just how she moves.
I think that Peach is, like, the... Okay, this is my, like... Okay, I'm gonna spend, like, 1 minute on this because this is something I feel strongly about. I think that Peach is the best designed character in the game.
Why is that?
Because she is a character with very obvious, powerful strengths who isn't broken, but is good.
I see what you... Okay. So like, if you were to depict, like, melee strengths in a way that's, like, sort of, like, you know, like, I don't know, the rules, like, add up across the board. You know, like with Fox, there's just, like, random, like, fucking loopholes, you know, that just kind of, like, are antithetical to melee in some kind of ways.
Fox doesn't really have to make decisions until he's fighting good opponents. With Peach, like, with all the other characters, because they don't have, like... Fox's problem is that he just doesn't have a situation, like, fundamentally, where he's just bad in. Like, any combat position that's, like, vaguely serviceable, he's got, like, a winning formula for it, or at least something that's, like, very good. That's kind of the thing that's a problem with him. Like, there's the big one, the egregious thing with him, I think, is the lasers. Because it's the lasers and the second good recovery move. Because the whole idea behind him, I think, is that he's supposed to be some kind of, like, rush-down glass cannon thing with, like, some ways of, like, provoking people in case they, like, run away. But the problem is those elements, like, the survival elements and the runaway elements are just way too overtuned. The best rush-down character should not also be the best runaway character. Like, that's just ridiculous. Why are those two things, like, on the same thing?
Literally.
That's my big thing. But with Peach is, like... Not only is she, like, well-made, she's kind of timeless. Because you always have, like, the dominant style of, like, the zoning and, like, float-heavy Peach. Like, the one that basically uses her, like, systematic tools, like, most effectively. Generally, they're defined by being more technical than kind of, like, the bulldozer variety, which would be, like, B-Bats. So you've got like like you've always got like one like a smaller number of like bulldozer Peaches that are like competitively relevant and they're good. But then you have like a larger number of like the more technical zoning kinds. Like even back in the day, like if you go back to like Vidjo and Court, like Vidjo Court, and then you had like Doe and like Doe would be like kind of the bulldozer one. Like the best peaches were always like the kind of like more patient ones, the more methodical ones, and then you kind of have the problem with the patient methodical ones is that the way you beat Peach is usually by like chipping her during her setup and just setting Exactly. You set up a projectile clock, like a chip damage clock, that just doesn't allow her to be so like slow going, I guess. Because it's too punishing. So then the bulldozer Peach is always usually the response to that, because it's just like, okay, full forward, just get him.
Yeah, like Triphasia, just smacking the shit out of people.
He's weird because like he's one or the other at all times. Like he's either A or B, but he's never like in between. But yeah, like sometimes like absolutely. He is kind of hard to find, but I do like when I think of Triphasia, I think of him just flying off stage with like a forward air on someone, you know. Okay, yeah. So I would say a better example would be like Polish and B-Bats, I think. Because they're not as aggressive with the edgeguard, but like my god, are they all over the opponent in combat. Oh yeah. Anyway, enough analyzing Peaches. But like you see what I mean. Like even Armada, like when he was dominant. Okay, no. We're doing the tangent again because I'm just very passionate about this. Okay. Because Peach is cool. Peach is so cool. Peach is the sickest character, and the best main character. Fight me, Fox players. I agree. So, with this in mind, let's talk about some other spots that, like, we can pick out here. So we've defined this as, like, one area. We've defined these as kind of, like, they have something in common. There's a little bit more detail with this one. There's a little bit more going on here. What do you think about down here? Like in terms of me trying to edgeguard that? Yeah. Like it's always like this sliver. Always a down air kind of situation, I feel like. Okay. Like occasionally I'll back air because I'll, you know, like I don't know, they'll tech it or whatever, or sometimes I'll do neutral air like a chic nair, you know. Mm-hmm. But Dair's almost always the move, especially because like if you can get low enough with the double jump and you can time it properly. What was I gonna say? Mm-hmm. Like. Yeah, I mean, like, if you can dip down and time the down air properly, they literally can't fucking tech it because you touch them before they hit the ground or before they hit the ledge, you know. Technically, they could smash DI it, but yeah, generally, unless they do like a whiz, like not a Wizzy, but like a Cody survival input, yeah, like yeah. But especially if we're on like FD or something, though, you know, where the wall kind of rides in a little bit, you know, it's just a lot harder. What if I told you there's a way we can cover everything? Is it laser? No, it's back air and edge grab. It's back air, down air, and edge grab. So, no, I know, I'm joking. No, it's all good. So remember, he's down here, right? Yes. Okay, so let's say he's here. So he can ride the wall, like, actually, no, not there. We'll have him be here. So from here, he can ride the wall or he can go straight up. So something we were talking about is, remember how, like, Fox can't sweet spot the edge coming, like, once he's below it, he can't sweet spot the edge, like, so he can't effectively, like, change how long his up B takes? Exactly, yeah. Right, so if he goes straight up, like, i.e. shoots past the edge, he's gonna get there first, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. So here's the thing. What if we grab the edge, like, what if we grab the edge, and as he's coming up, we refresh and watch his angle? Yeah, kind of let him come up first, so we don't even have to worry about like trading or teching. Because if he's above the ledge, then like we don't even need to like, we can just back air him, you know? Right, because all we need to do is we just need to have the intangibility aligned so that if he does the recoveries that pass above the ledge, then we're intangible as he goes over us, and then we just back air him. But, that makes sense. And then if we see him doing the squeeze, we just roll. Yeah, or like get up attack or something. Yeah, you just roll because you hog him. But yeah, get up attack if you're worried. But like, yeah, because we know that it's going to take the same amount of time one way or the other. So we're using that to our advantage. We're playing off the limitations of his situation. That makes complete sense.
Yeah, I do that back air occasionally, but I feel like it's like I usually like go on stage and then try to back air them because I'm kind of like fearful of like getting burned at the ledge or getting reversaled.
Yeah.
But I feel like I feel like getting better at oh wow, there's two cardinals running around right in front of me. Very cool. Okay.
Take a picture. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. You're on your phone.
No, they were too fast. But anyway, yeah, like because Falco with invincibility is just so fucking crazy. I feel like the Falcos don't really have that good of ledge play,
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been ledge dash shining more recently, and it's been getting me so many fucking neutral openings.
Yeah.
And it's just I don't think the other Falcos really do it much because I mean like Mango doesn't really do it, so it's not like.
So to be fair, ledge hop double laser is very good if the opponent's like not exactly right next to you.
Yeah.
But I bet that's probably why ledge dash shining. That might be a part of why ledge dash shining is getting you openings. Because if we think about like the spots people want to be relative to Falco to deal with ledge hop double laser, right?
Yeah.
It's usually like on a platform or like right in front of the ledge. Well, one of those ledge dash shine is extremely good against, and the other one, like if you don't do the shine and you do something else out of the ledge dash, you're also good against that. So
yeah,
that could be a consideration.
Yeah, it's true. Like if they're inherently waiting for a hitbox and then the hitbox gets replaced with like a movement option, then they're like probably also just stationary because they've committed themselves to like a reactionary position.
Yeah, and even if they're like familiar enough with the situation, like let's say we're fighting someone like as good as Zane, who's gonna know that this is an option that someone can do. It's still generally a good position to like be invincible and be Falco and be under or next to your opponent.
Yeah.
Like that's just generally a good spot to be. Being intangible Falco right next to the opponent or below them is just strong. Because you have you just have positional advantage and you're intangible. So like we good.
Yeah. I never realized just how important like risk assessment is for a lot of people because I don't know, like I've also been watching more like Magnus Carlsen too. Like I've been getting more into chess recently because I just want to have like a passive game that I can just kind of like do on my phone. And like I've been watching him play, and it's like he really does not take any fucking risks. Like unless he's 100% sure what's going to happen from it,
Mm-hmm.
And I just like it's so interesting how people pollute these kind of like bad positions in Melee, or they like live in them because they're. It's like gambler's fallacy,
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm gonna make this position work or whatever, but like the best people, they just don't even engage with it. They don't even like allow that position to be like something that they are working with.
I'll tell you one of the mechanisms for how it happens. The instant that you start offering human-based or psychological or like player-based, like just innate traits about them or things that happen, or like anything that like you use, like whenever you use a way of explaining the situation, like why something didn't work, as they were new, they were bad, they weren't ready for it, they didn't know about it. Like as soon as you start using those as your main ways of explaining why things worked, or like I was playing hot, like anything like that, anything that's not measurable, anything that's not provable, that's usually when people run into problems, because you have no way to like evaluate that decision or evaluate the quality of that decision, and that's a problem because then you can sometimes fall into really, really bad feedback loops. So like when I do my edge guarding with knowing all this, like my edge guarding is like very simple. Like usually I want them here. If I can't get them here, I will settle for up here if I am in position to like be able to like cover things from the stage or go off reasonably. So believe it or not, I actually find that this, unless your character is just good at going off stage, I actually find this spot is like incredibly difficult to cover compared to this spot, because this is close enough to hit them. So I might actually like use a lower knockback move if I have to send them off, like maybe Nair with like Nest, for example. Because putting like Falcon or someone here versus over here with back air, this is so much harder to edge guard. Because he's gonna go up and he can just like do whatever he wants with his drift, but over here, like I can get in the way and just back air him, and then I can look for the kill. But like if I put him up here and I never have the opportunity to do that, like it's just so much sketchier of an overall position. Sometimes knockback is not your friend.
Or like conversely, if you treat like the position that's closer to the ledge, if you treat that like it has the complication of the further position, then you like drop a free punish, you know, or a free edge guard. Like it's like even if two situations look very similar, it's like you have to be able to discern what the actual, you know, value of the position is, you know. And if you're able to consistently capitalize on that, then you don't really have to take unnecessary risks.
For sure. One area that I want to bring attention to is like this kind of like area right above the ledge. This is like a really important space to cover in general. Because like a lot of times with these high recoveries, this is where people fall in order to get onto the ledge and have access to their like invincible reversal options. So even just like whatever your moves that hang over, like with Falco, it could be like your forward tilt, it could be your forward smash, it could be your back air, like there's jab, even dash attack, there's tons of options, laser obviously, but knowing what you're gonna do when somebody is kind of like doing like a funny drift like this into that, like to try to tease this and like mix up like landing on stage or pulling back, like having a plan for like covering this kind of area is really, really key for covering these higher ones, especially if you're using your lasers and things to force them into like doing recoveries and like try to snipe jumps. I think one of the best things about Falco as an edge guarder is that he is really good at covering jumps. His ability to laser to cut off space is really, makes him like very fearsome in this respect and gets him like gimps from situations where other characters have to do a real edge guard sometimes, which is amazing. At the same time, as you fight higher level opponents, they tend to be aware of like where they can't jump and the rules of this, because Falco's limitation is they don't really work above this. So I find that with Falco a lot of the time, you kind of have people recovering in this kind of like weird middle zone, where it's like not all the way up here, but it's kind of like between these points. You know what I mean? Because they'll go below it and then they'll jump to kind of like do this at some point, and then that's like the thing that's weird. So it's like getting good at knowing that tendency is also big. So you want to like
I was watching some Bobby recently, actually, after our session last week, and I was noticing that in that position, he actually likes to cover it with down air, but with no fast fall, so that he can still have time to recover.
Yeah,
and it's great. Like it's really bold, but it's so fucking effective, you know.
Yeah, you can also kind of do the chic, where like you run off the stage, jump back up with like down air or like nair. Like that's also quite good. Grabbing the edge preemptively and covering this with invincibility is also quite strong. Like, but it's all about, and the thing about, one of the nice things about using ledge invincibility is you tend to hit the opponent, like assuming that they're in range, and like they're not all the way up here, hitting them lower to the ground means that when you send them off, they're like lower. So you actually have like, you're denying them the height they need to recover. Because remember, all of these height from here to here, this is a recovery resource, because that's time that represents where they can fall and adjust their drift, and just kind of wait, really.
Sure.
So we've talked about undershooting, overshooting, and whiff punishing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so this is kind of a way to think about edgeguarding in general. Edgeguarding, whenever a player is in disadvantage state, they have lost one of the three, at least one of the three, like overshoot, whiff punish, or undershoot options. In the case of edgeguarding, the person recovering has lost, like one of them has been nerfed, at least one of them has been nerfed. So in the case of edgeguarding, it's whiff punishing that has been nerfed. Because whiff punishing is all about waiting and reacting. But because they're off stage, if they
the onus is on you,
Yeah, so, and it does not yet, so if you both do nothing, the person recovering just dies. So they have to act at some point. Because whiff punishing is weakened, this means that they basically have to recover, like overshoot past where the opponent is with their up B, or try to like attack where they are, or maybe they have like other tools. Like it depends on the character, but you can kind of see what I mean. Like they kind of have the option to try to work around that player, go past them in some way or attack them, but they can't just not do anything. The key thing here is they have to do something. So all you're trying to figure out is how to block, bait, and punish those relevant things. This is why babysitting is so strong, because babysitting represents a whiff punish against a character, against an opponent whose overshoots are clunky, because it's probably the recovery move, and whose
Yeah.
undershoots are probably kill them in a lot of the positions where they're trying to do them. If not, they're just too clunky. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's why, like, especially having like slightly, what's the word, like slightly more aggressive spacing, it kind of just forces the opponent to make a decision, period, you know? And if you can quantify what, you know, where their brain fucking goes, not only under pressure, but also like what they're forced to do, you know? Like understanding how limited their options are in certain positions.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll help maximize like risk reward.
Yep. No, absolutely. So the one thing we didn't get to that I was hoping to, but we'll touch on it briefly here, hopefully quickly. We didn't really talk about like vertical kill, like juggle state, like but one of the things I'm curious about is, what do you think the role? So we obviously, when we're dealing with Marth, we want, like, when we're dealing with Marth, Fox, Falco, Falcon Sheik, yada, 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 we want to hit them off stage for edgeguarding. Can you think of a reason why we might want to keep someone like Peach or Jigglypuff or Samus or something like that on stage above us? Is there any reason?
Because edgeguarding them is just not really part of fighting them, typically. You know, there's mix-ups, but, like, usually we're trying to just find a kill move, because the freedom they have off stage is just kind of disproportionate to other characters.
Possibly. I would still say edgeguarding them is good, but what I would say here is, it's sometimes the way they recover around this kind of system. I'm just going to erase some of this. I already given you like the full copy.
You're good.
But sometimes the way they recover around this system allows us to get like vertical kills like more effectively. So like let's take the lovely and talented Jigglypuff here. So we're going to say that she's here. Would you like, if she's once she's here, like her going to the edge is kind of a disaster. No, her going to the edge isn't really a disaster. She can't really do anything if we're up. If we're up or even, this is fine. But by covering this space and like controlling this with our down air and stuff, we kind of like force her to go over us, don't we? Right?
Yeah.
So, well, this is kind of like, this is what I'm getting at. So this is a part of why vertical kills and looking for up airs and stuff is so can be, or even shines near the top of the screen, can be so effective against them as part of your punish flowchart. Because what we're doing here is we're going from this zone into this one, like from this zone here into like this zone here. Because like,
I see.
Because like this is like the kind of the area where we need them for like the vertical kill line. Like this would be like the border of the stage. This is kind of the area where we need it. Well, by edge guarding and controlling this section, we're forcing her there.
Yeah, no, for sure. That makes sense. Especially if you're like, I don't know, if you've demonstrated the idea that they could die from like an edge guard, like a gimp or whatever, they're going to be holding in a lot more on average too, and like.
Mm-hmm.
And floaties holding it means that you can just kill them sooner in general.
Yeah, and I mean, like, what's our alternative, right? Like, this is the thing about advantage state. Assuming that the other, like, this is why floaties, even though they're, like, more durable characters, I actually think they have a lot more problems navigating out of disadvantage state a lot of the time. Because, like, the fragile characters, or like the more powerful the more powerful combat characters like Sheik and Falco and Falcon and Marth and Fox, like once they're out of the combo, they're kind of fine, you know? Like their abilities are so good that once they kind of like get any inch to like set up their game, they're fine again because they're just ready to go. But for someone like Peach or like Samus or Jigglypuff or like Ice Climbers or whatever, or Luigi, like the time they spent like drifting through the air to reach those points, it complicates things significantly for them because it gives the attackers so much more time to plan. So
yeah,
it's so
like
easy
it's costly.
Yeah, you can just keep out positioning them. Like I think that this is what now. Granted, if you're like elite level with those characters and you just have like very good understanding of the fight dynamics and like the disadvantage state dynamics, like Armada, basically.
Yeah.
You can drag those out and make up and claw back tons of margin. Like that's absolutely a skill you can build as a floaty player. But like it's so hard, I think, compared to just getting out once you're out, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like when I was a puff player, like I think whenever I was down, especially versus Fox, it just felt like so undoable because, like,
Fox and Miserable. Name a more iconic duo.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I mean, like, I think this makes a lot of sense too, because I feel like I need to start looking at my opponent's positioning not only as like an opportunity for my hitboxes, but like also relative to their own limitations, you know. And I think that will make making more damning, you know, effective decisions a lot more reliable.
And the cool thing is like you can also, now that because you're aware of the decisions you're making, you can make them with confidence, because if you find that certain ones are like working better than others, you'll just naturally like trend towards those as part of the improvement process.
Positive feedback loop.
Absolutely. I do have someone at 3, so I do have to go, but was this helpful? Are you good?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think this is actually like exactly what I kind of needed. I'm happy to reframe how I'm looking at some stuff, and I'm excited to let you know how my developments go.
Amazing. We'll keep in touch. I'll let you go, Louise, but talk soon and have a great afternoon.
Sounds good. Bye, KK.
Bye.
See ya.